Hello everyone, in this video lesson, I'm going to discuss the various processes of word formation in English language. So the very first process that I'm going to discuss in my video is derivation. So what is derivation? Let me first of all explain this. When you add an affix, right, either a prefix or a suffix to an existing word, or the root word, then you create a new word. A new word is formed. And this process is known as derivation. So let me now explain what is the difference between a prefix and a suffix. Now, prefix is when you add a letter or a group of letters to the beginning of a word. Alright, when you're adding it to the beginning of before the base form of the word. For example, when you're adding u and un to the word happy. So before happy, when you're adding the prefix u and un, you create or you form a new word, unhappy, right? Which means not happy. So the meaning of this prefix is not, breakable, unbreakable, not breakable, right? So this is an example of a prefix. Right? I'll give you another example of a prefix. Now, another example is, for example, re, rewrite, reread, reprint, repay. So what I'm doing is that I'm adding the prefix re, which means, yes, again, to do something again, to the base form, to the existing word. So we create a new word, right, in this process. Another example of a prefix is hyper, H-Y-P-E-R, hyper, which means an excess of something. For example, hyperactive, hypersensitive. So when you're adding hyper, the prefix hyper to the word active, you create a new word, hyperactive. Similarly, hypersensitive. So that's prefix. Now, what's the meaning of suffix? Suffix is just the opposite. When you're adding a letter or a group of letters to the end of the word. So it comes towards the end of the word. For example, F-U-L, full. That's a suffix. So when you add this suffix F-U-L, full, to a word, for example, hope, hopeful, right? So you get a word hopeful, full of hope, right? Similarly, pain, painful. You add the suffix F-U-L, full. Yes, painful. So you are adding the suffix F-U-L, full. Now again, L-E-S-S, less. That's another suffix. Careless, helpless. So you are adding the suffix L-E-S-S, less, to the existing word care, right? Careless, helpless. Now you're creating, in this process you're creating a new word. We form new words. Now another example of a suffix could be ship, S-H-I-P, ship, which means a state or condition of something. For example, leadership, friendship. So these are all examples of suffixes in English language. So do you remember, when you're adding either a prefix or a suffix to an existing word, right, to the root word, then you create or you form a new word. And this process is known as derivation. The next process that I'm going to discuss is compounding. When a new word is created by combining two different words, that process is known as compounding. For instance, words like classroom. Yes, when you add class and room, these are two different words, right? So when we combine these two words, we get a new word, classroom. Similarly, notebook. Note plus book is notebook. Book plus shelf is bookshelf. Play plus ground is playground. Ice plus cream is ice cream. Fire plus fly is firefly. So this process of word formation is known as compounding. So the next process of word formation is blending. So what is blending? So do keep in mind that blending is slightly different from compounding. In compounding, the complete words are combined. Yes, two different words are there and you combine the two different words, right? Classroom is classroom. But in blending, what happens is that, yes, parts of two different words are combined. Yes, we blend parts of two different words, not the entire words, right? For instance, smoke plus fog is smog. So you create a new word. Yes. So the meaning also, you see, it's a combination of both. There is a blend. Yes. Again, another word is brunch. Breakfast plus lunch is brunch. Education plus entertainment, edutainment. Similarly, travel plus dialogue is travelogue. So here you are combining or blending parts of two different words. So this process of word formation is known as blending. So the next process of word formation that I'm going to discuss now is clipping. So what is clipping? Clipping is when you shorten a word by removing one or two syllables from the existing word. So in this process, what happens? A shortened word is created, a new word is created. You form a new word. Right? Now, for example, you see the word advertisement. Yes, when you remove a few syllables towards the end of the word, this is an instance of back clipping. Yes, so you create a new word, ad. Similarly, the word lab from laboratory. This is also an instance of back clipping. Now, an instance of fore clipping is, for instance, telephone. This is an instance of fore clipping. And an instance of middle clipping where you retain the middle portion. An instance of middle clipping is influenza, right? So influenza, in this word what happens? The middle portion is retained. Yes, the rest is removed. So you create a new word, flu, right? So this is the process which is known as clipping. The next process is back formation. Now, what is back formation? When we eliminate the actual derivational affix from the base form of the word, we create a new word, and this process is back formation. I'll give you a few examples. The word donate, for instance, is created through back formation from the base form donation. Similarly, resurrect is created from the base form resurrection. And also process is created from the base form of the word, that is procession. So this process is known as back formation. Now let me discuss the process that is known as conversion. Now what is conversion? Conversion is when a word of one grammatical form is converted into another grammatical form without changing the spelling and also the pronunciation. This process is conversion. I'll give you a few examples. Now you see the word Google. Yes. So it was originally a noun. But later on people started using it also as a verb, to Google it, which means to search for information online, right? So the noun gets converted into a new word that is in the verb form, right? Google. Now, another word is, for instance, email. Similar. You see, it was originally used as a noun, but then, people gradually started using it also in the verb form. So this process of word formation is conversion. When you create a new word by shortening a word or a phrase, that process is known as abbreviation. Now, for instance, the shortened form for the word doctor is DR, right? For department, it is DEPT, right? So similarly, the shortened form for head of the department is HOD. Doctor of Philosophy is, yes, PhD. So these are all examples of abbreviation. So that is also another process of word formation in English language. I'm going to give you some examples of acronyms in English language. Now, PIN, what's the full form? Yes, PIN is Personal Identification Number, right? AIDS, AIDS, AIDS. Yes, the word AIDS is very common, right? But how many of us actually know what is the full form or the expanded form of AIDS? Yes, Acquired Immunodeficiency Syndrome. NASA is even more popular than the expanded form. What's the expanded form for the word NASA? NASA. National Aeronautics and Space Administration. Similarly, what is the full form of laser? LASER. Yes, light amplification by stimulated emission of radiation. Right? So now you see what we have done here is that new words are created by joining the initial letters of a series of words. Right? This process of word formation is acronym. And as the name suggests, borrowing is, yes, when you borrow a word from a different language. That's borrowing, right? So a new word is created and it's through the process which is known as borrowing. For example, you see the word yoga in English. It's so popular worldwide today, but it is borrowed from Sanskrit. Yes, algebra is borrowed from Arabic. Yes, after borrowing, the last process of word formation that I'm going to discuss in this video is coinage. So what is coinage? Words are also created through this process, that is inventing new words. Yes, coining or inventing new words in a language, especially from trading names or maybe products on the market, yes, that, have become a general term. For instance, words like nylon, aspirin, Vaseline, zipper. These are all examples of words created through the process that is known as coinage. So in this video lesson, I have discussed the different processes of word formation in English language. I have discussed derivation, compounding, blending, clipping, back formation, conversion, abbreviation, acronym, borrowing and coinage. I hope this video is useful for all of you. Thank you so much for listening.